What's up, guys? Welcome back to Movie Rex. I'm Megan, and all month long I am doing all things Halloween and horror related in film. So today I am counting down 5 of my favorite scary witches in film. So let's dive right in. First up, the other mother, Coraline.
Mom? What are you doing here in the middle of the night?
You're just in time for supper, dear.
So what I love about this one is the fact that not only is it surprisingly scary, I was not expecting it to be this terrifying when I was watching it for the first time, but the whole approach with the other mother, the fact that she lures the children to her world by being the perfect mother, but she has all these mannerisms that are mother-like. She does this when she's waiting for an answer, the tapping of the fingers, and she cooks the perfect meals, she sews, and all these things that you would think a perfect mother can do, she does them, and that's part of her appeal. So it's basically like she is able to get the kids to come to her by pinpointing the imperfections of their own mothers and using that to get them to her world to eventually succumb to what she needs, which is basically to feed off the children. So in it of itself, it's very terrifying to use the imperfections of the real mothers against the children as a way of capturing them. I just thought that it was so amazingly done. The buttons for eyes are so creepy, yet they make them look wholesome in the beginning. And I have to say, it's one of the most original tellings of a witch story, or the beldam is what they call her in this movie. But I just found it so great and so creepy. And using the mother essentially against her own child without her knowing it, because, let's face it, none of us are perfect, using those imperfections against her child to lure her there. Oh my gosh, just brilliant and terrifying. Next up, the witches from The Witches.
Every country in the world has witches. Witches spend their time plotting to kill children.
All right, so The Witches is based off of Roald Dahl's novel, and anything that Roald Dahl creates is obviously going to be terrifying in its own way.
When a witch chooses a victim, there is only one hope of escape. Knowing everything about them that I am telling you.
So for me, what makes this one so frightening is the fact that the witches hate children. And I know that might sound simple and, not so scary, but if you think about it, the witches don't go after the children with any kind of anything in mind as far as, like hocus pocus. They want to gain eternal youth, or, they're not trying to get anything from the kids. They're just trying to destroy the kids. They're trying to rid the world of children. That is terrifying, that is basically their sole motive and goal in life. I do find it really cool that there's ways of identifying the witches, even though they try to hide amongst everyone, with the square feet, the purple eyes, and the bald head. So if you see them scratching at their head, it kind of is an indication. I just think that's really cool that they have that in there so that it's, the little boy has a way of identifying the witches. I don't know. I just thought that was always so cool when I was watching this when I was younger. Number 3, The Witch from Nightbooks. So this one is really cool. I'm not sure if a lot of people have seen this one. I have talked about it before, but it's basically a modern day telling of Hansel and Gretel. It follows a little boy who loves scary stories, loves watching scary movies and telling scary stories, and he's lured into the witch's realm by a piece of pumpkin pie and the Lost Boys playing in an empty apartment complex.
Nightbooks, huh? The title better not be the scariest thing about them. I'm going to need a story every night. The story better be good, and it better be scary. Or it's the last thing you'll ever do.
So the only way the boy can survive is by telling the witch scary stories, and if it's scary enough, he gets to live to tell another tale. So spoiler alert, it turns out that the witch that we see throughout most of the film is actually not the real witch. She was a former captive and somehow managed to cast a spell on the real witch to keep her sleeping. The thing is, the witch needs scary stories to lull her to sleep and to keep her sleeping. Now, what I find so cool about this one is the fact that, okay, in what movie have you ever seen where somebody is lulled to sleep with scary stories? I find that pretty crazy and creepy in and of itself. But the witch, when she wakes up, oh my gosh, she's everything that you would expect from a fairy tale witch. She's grotesque and haggardy and just creepy. And I'm pretty sure Sam Raimi produced this one because there's something very Sam Raimi about the way that she moves. For people that like Evil Dead and all those movies, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I just think that it is so cool that number one, they have, you know, the surprise that the witch throughout the entire movie, she's really cool. Her style is awesome, but that it turns out that she's really not the evil witch, and that she's been using this little boy's scary stories to keep the real witch in her slumber. I love that. I think it is so cool, and she is terrifying when she wakes up. So if you have not seen this one, oh my gosh, definitely check it out, especially in October. What better time? Okay, number 2, definitely taking a darker turn with this one, The Witches from Rosemary's Baby. So what scared me so badly about this one is the fact that the witches are everywhere and in everything, but seem like your average next door neighbor. I mean, that's basically what they are to her. So she was not suspecting anything sinister could be going on when she moved in. The witches are her neighbors. They're eventually her husband. One is her doctor. I mean, she cannot escape them, and they look and act like your normal everyday person. So there's really no way to spot them. In the witches that I talked about, you know, they had certain characteristics that if you look closely, you could catch. Here, there's not. There's nothing that gives them away. And the fact that they're your everyday average neighbor, but with sinister intentions and quite literally doing the devil's work, oh my gosh, that just freaks me out. I mean, it is terrifying to think that the person that you say hi to every day, you don't know what their intentions are. And in this movie, you really don't get much worse than wanting to have a woman bear the devil's child. So yeah, I would say the witches are pretty terrifying. And finally, number 5 on my list, the Blair Witch from the Blair Witch Project. I remember seeing this one in theaters, and I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. When this one came out, everyone believed that it was real found footage. It was so brilliantly done. They even did a documentary on the Blair Witch that was released. I don't know if it was like Discovery Channel or what, but I remember watching it and being like, oh my God, there's a Blair Witch. And, you know, I grew up in Maryland, so I was like freaked out that the Blair Witch was real, and I saw this in theaters and was convinced that it was real found footage. Now, of course, there was, you know, debate, and eventually it came out that it wasn't, but it was brilliantly done. Another brilliant aspect of this movie is that it's like the Jaws effect times 1,000, because you never see the witch. You know, at the end of Jaws, finally, eventually, you get to see the shark. Here, you never get to see the witch. They use your imagination against you the entire time. Your imagination is left to make all the decisions. What does she look like? What is her real intentions? What is she going to do to the people when she finds them? I mean, they give you hints, they give you ideas of what could happen, but you never really know for sure. I just think it's so well done how much they use your own imagination against you throughout the entire film. So there you have it, 5 of my favorite scariest witches in film. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Have you seen most of these or all of these? What is your favorite scariest witch in a movie? Let me know if I missed anything. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and be on the lookout for more movie rec videos.